Welcome to the Nerds of Comedy. We are back in the Push Comedy Theater, Brad and I, together again to talk Columbo. This is our go-to. I would say the Columbos have become a huge hit amongst our small fan base.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
I'm not regularly check this. For me, it's almost like, thank you for watching, but more importantly, I get to talk Columbo with you.
Yes.
And if these guys ever care one day, we have to do like a Columbo something.
A Columbo, like a Columbo show, or
Columbo show, or maybe we have the whole Columbo thing plays once a month here or something.
so like a Columbo viewing party.
Yes.
So if you want to see more Columbo, like our page, subscribe, and write in the comment sections what episodes you want us to tackle.
Oh, we'd love you to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So we're going to an old favorite. We're going back to a Robert Culp episode, who one of my favorite kind of like 1970s, 80s actors of all time. I can't get enough of Robert Culp.
I mean, he's so straight. Like, if you hire this guy, he's coming in and playing it to the T. Mm-hmm. You know, you can see him like he already reads the script. He's like, I know which way I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
I'm going to play like Robert Culp in whatever costume you give me. You know what I mean? But it's always steady, and he plays the beat as an actor. And we don't like to talk douchey, but like,
Right.
As an actor, he's fantastic.
He really is. He's the perfect slow burn. You can just see him just like starting to lose that temper, and he's trying to hold it back, and then he just kind of bursts.
Columbo, what are you doing? You following me?
His temper is in every movie and everything. I mean, we've talked about him before. He's the greatest American hero.
Greatest American, Bill Maxwell in The Greatest American Hero. I Spy, which we can't talk about anymore because of Cosby, but
182.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in this, what, 4 times?
4 times, yeah. So we're going to actually talk about today his second appearance, season 2. It is called The Most Crucial Game. The Most Crucial Game, football.
Yeah. And we're going to go, we did this a little differently this time. I'm normally the one that's obsessed with it and always like, this is what happened. No, you missed it, Brad. On this one, this is one of my favorites, and I've watched The Most Crucial Game, I'd say 3 times, right? But I did not watch it. It's been probably about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So this would be nice to see it.
And it's probably, I watched it again today. This is probably my 4th time seeing it, and it is one of my favorites.
It's incredible. It's incredible, the murder and how he figures it out, and incredible.
And so many little things that go on to influence the series later on. But let's jump into it. So in this one, Robert Culp is the general manager of the LA football team.
Yes.
One of those things, the NFL is very stingy about who can use NFL teams. So it was like the LA Rockets or something like that.
I think it was, but it was filmed in the LA Coliseum.
Yeah.
This is going to come up with.
Mm-hmm. So he is the general manager of a football team. Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap plays the kind of rich layabout son of the owner who has inherited the team and could really care less about it. He's a playboy. And Robert Culp is in charge of his money and his affairs. But the rich kid is getting sick of it. He doesn't want all these things. He's got enough money. He doesn't need more money.
And he's being more like a dad figure to him now.
Right.
It's like, get out of my face, Dad. I'll do cocaine or drink all night. I don't know what they're alluding to in those 70s. That party looked wild.
It did look wild. Yeah. There was like that girl you set me up with. She had a younger sister, so thank you for that. So just weird. Did you just throw your gum onto this stage?
I'll get it when we're done with
okay.
filming. Yeah.
This is what we have to deal with here at the Push Comedy
Theater.
Yeah. So he's going to kill him. He's like, I'm going to kill him so I can run all these organizations the way I want to run them. And very ingenious. He's very
meticulous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his whole plot to kill this rich kid, not rich kid, he's probably late 20s, early 30s or whatever.
Yeah, it's a young Dean Stockwell. It still looks like an old Dean Stockwell.
Yeah, he's always looked old.
Yeah, always.
So he's in his box at the LA Coliseum. The game's about to start.
It's a big game, too.
He calls the coach and says, hey, I want to talk to you during at halftime. I don't like the plays that you have scheduled, so we're going to talk about it at halftime. The game starts. He puts on an ice cream man uniform, hops into an ice cream truck, drives to Dean Stockwell's house, stops a little bit before then, and calls Dean Stockwell on the phone to just check in on him. We're leaving for a trip later on today. Make sure you're ready.
Yeah.
No witnesses. Yeah, wants to make sure he's alone. Gets to Dean Stockwell's house. Dean Stockwell is swimming in the pool, and Robert Culp has a huge block of ice from the ice cream truck that he bashes Dean Stockwell in the head with. He falls back into the pool. He throws the ice into the pool, so now his murder weapon is going to dissolve.
And we have to talk about this for a second if I can jump in. Some really beautiful, magical pre-Jaws underwater scenes with it. Like,
Yeah.
I say if you're a director type, I did happen to look something up on this. A lot of other people, of course, written about this. But I saw one thing that really alluded to that, and I remember like this sort of trippiness of how he's dead. You know, that 70s weird psychedelic death in a way. Right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of, as he's driving up to the house, there's all these shots shot from underwater of Dean Stockwell swimming laps in the pool. And then when Robert Culp comes walking up, you are seeing him from underwater.
Yes.
So you can't even really see who it is at first. So you're at Dean Stockwell, you just see these legs kind of walking towards you. And when he stands up to see who it is when he gets smacked in the face.
Bam.
As Robert Culp is leaving, he notices his shoes are leaving prints on the concrete.
It's huge.
This is very huge.
Yes.
So he gets a hose and sprays down the deck of the
Of course
pool.
he would. He's meticulous.
Very meticulous. Hops in the ice cream truck, drives back to the Coliseum, and makes it just in time for the coach to come up and talk to him.
Yep.
You almost think that the coach is early because he comes into the press box or the luxury box and is looking around, and Robert Culp isn't there, and you're like, uh-oh, something went wrong.
Yeah.
And then right at the last second, he comes out of the bathroom washing his hands like he was just in the bathroom.
Perfect. Directing everything went as planned according to him. It's perfect.
Yes.
And then
Columbo.
Columbo comes around. And things are a little bit weird. We have to say it right now. Columbo. We don't do this without Columbo. I asked Sean before this. I said, tell me the thesis of the show again. Let's get back to what that was. And you said how it inspired us as comedians. The character work of Columbo is still what makes me love it. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, has the beginning of the best line in all of Columbo history came out of this actual show. Do you know it?
Is it in the scene where he shows up or a little bit later on?
It's a little later on.
What'd you pay for those shoes?
I think about $60.
I stepped into some water yesterday. I ruined mine. You don't know where I could get a pair that looks like that for around 16 or 17.
Was it how much did you pay for those shoes?
What did you pay for those shoes?
Yes. I read the same thing. So this is the first instance, because we've actually talked about this before off air a couple years ago when we got back into Columbo, is that I had noticed that he's always he has I don't want to say foot fetish, but shoe fetish. He's always asking people about their shoes throughout the series, and this is the first time this shows up.
It is the first time and also the best time, yes, because we have to keep this shorter tonight. And I'm jumping around a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
But with Columbo on this one, he says it to the lawyer, I think it is, because he wants to be unassuming, is what the thought process was.
Yes.
But what cracks me up is you forget the second part of it. The man answers it, and he says $60.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Where can I
get it
for 16?
16 or $17?
Yeah.
Or like, he's negotiating, but you wanted to talk about something tonight with Columbo. I can't wait to hear what it is.
Well, this is what it is. It was actually the shoes. This is the shoes I wanted to talk about.
I stole it from you.
So Peter Falk, those were actually his shoes, the boots that Columbo has. He's an old school actor where, the actor puts together the costume. I mean, it was his raincoat. It was his actual shoes. So when he gets to the pool, to the house to check out the dead body and everything, he notices the deck is wet and goes down the ladder of the pool to check out something, not paying attention, and wades into the water and ends up ruining his shoes. And that's where he notices that the pool water is chlorine, but the water on the deck is fresh water. So that's number one. something is
awry.
Something is awry here.
Columbo's brain is on it, right? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that from you. But
No, but that's fine. Like I said, it was great. So this is where the shoes he had. So he's asking about the shoes. One, to be unassuming. Two, because he ruined his only pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And then he actually goes and later on, he's at the basketball court.
Where'd you get those shoes?
Miller's on Wilshire.
Mr. Hamlin. What is the reason that you're the what?
And then the very next scene, you see Columbo and he's walking, but he's like grimacing.
Well, good afternoon, sir. And where would you like to go today?
Home.
What?
They soak my feet. They're killing me. New pair of shoes.
That's right. It's such character building in this, and we're inspired by that. I think Columbo's the best, as we always say. I could talk about him all night. In this particular one, though, he shows off a couple of things we don't get to see in a lot of shows. Another thing that's important to mention, you get to see him being a hard-nosed detective for once.
Come on, Lieutenant. You know my client's name is privileged information. Now I have a perfect right to keep his identity a secret.
I've got a perfect right to arrest you for breaking and entering. Not to mention illegal wiretapping.
Yeah.
Is his work with the private eye. I'd love for you to catch us up a little bit. He catches on to something. It's a little wild how he catches on to it. It's a bug in a phone, and he can tell you the whole details of it, but Columbo's onto it. He sets this private eye up, finds him, and plays hardball with him.
He really does.
It's not the unassuming Columbo you're used to.
Yeah, normally Columbo, even with the murder suspects, is a very affable, nice guy. There's a couple... Annoying, yes. But yeah, pestering. Yes. But at the same time, a nice guy. But there are a few instances. The one is the pilot. We haven't done the pilot yet, but we've talked about it, where kind of like he goes bad cop on this woman. And he does a little bit now with this private detective. So there is a private detective that becomes involved in the case who was bugging Dean Stockwell's house. And Columbo realizes there's the stereo's playing, and there's this weird interference, and he sets up a little sting and catches the private eye. And
he is polite at first.
Very polite.
Like, here's the deal. You got caught. No big deal. We can work this out. Mm-hmm. Give me everything you got on it. I can't do that. Give me the source. Do it, all this stuff. He's like, I can't do that. He goes, okay.
So he has all the private eye's equipment, this expensive surveillance equipment. And the PI's like, hey, Columbo, I need my equipment back. You're costing me money now. I can't work without my equipment.
Listen, about the equipment, I'm sorry to hold you up on that. It's just I've been preoccupied by this case. What's it worth?
$600.
A lot of money.
All right. I put a girl in the Hanlon's office.
So the private eye kind of like bends a little bit, as I can give you the name of a girl that I use, who I use to plant the bugs, and it's actually Valerie Bertinelli.
Great comedic scene where you get to see Columbo being funny.
Wait a minute, is it Valerie? Not Valerie Bertinelli. Valerie Harper.
Yes.
Valerie Bertinelli married Eddie Vedder. Valerie from One Day at a Time. Not Eddie Vedder. Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen. I got my Eddies.
Even flow. We just got Vedder flying into Columbo, which is great.
So Valerie Bertinelli married Eddie Van Halen. Valerie Harper plays the prostitute in this episode, and she went on to be Rhoda in Mary Tyler Moore and on the Rhoda show.
Well, great scene in
this. I think we all needed to know that whole convoluted. There you go.
I loved her in this, though.
I did too.
She's a prostitute, and she's like going to give him the works. It's Columbo. And he doesn't quite catch on to what's going on for him.
Yeah, she mistakes him for her John at one point in time. Yeah,
and
at the beginning.
Time he's like, oh, I think I see what's going on here, right? And he comes clean with what he's all about. But she says an interesting line in that. She says, don't go all Cincinnati on me or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, darling.
Miss Babcock?
Don't be so Cincinnati. My name is Eve. Don't be embarrassed.
Which is a really famous line in Columbo as well. Don't be so Cincinnati. He looks like he's a type.
Yeah.
And like, you can see, and the genius of Peter Falk, right, is his timing in this is perfect, because even when the John comes to the door, he's like, did I get here early? He's like, yeah, I think you did. And he's like, well, what happened? Who's going on? He's like, I'm with the
L.A. Police Department.
Yeah, the guy just like, all right.
The guy's like, you know what? We'll talk about those stock tips tomorrow or whatever it was.
But flying around, as we said in this, you wanted to talk about how he wrapped this case up with figuring out something interesting.
So they get recordings of from the bugs. So it turns out Dean Stockwell's lawyer had been bugging the house. Robert Culp knew about this, so decided to use the bugs to his advantage. So, yeah, he called Dean Stockwell at the beginning of the game, said, hey, we're going to Montreal to look at a hockey team tonight. And then as soon as he hangs up, he puts on the ice cream uniform, drives, and then calls again and has the radio playing the game.
Yes.
So it sounds like he is still in his luxury box at the stadium.
Right.
Knowing that these conversations are being recorded, so he has an alibi now. So if you listen to these recordings, you will know that he was at the game at the beginning of the game, he was at the game in the middle of the first half, and at halftime because the coach comes in to talk to him. So he has an airtight alibi. And at this point in time, Columbo knows he did it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, where did Columbo figure him out?
All right.
He talks a little bit about it in like the reveal at the end, but where did you figure it?
I'd like to hear your reveal first, because like I don't want to taint this. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say yeah.
So the reveal is where Columbo says that he suspected something at first, is that when he came in to say that Dean Stockwell was dead, Robert Culp turned down the speakers, piping in the sounds of the game into the box. The announcers. Turned it down, but didn't turn it off. Just turned it down low. And then when he mentioned that it was possibly murder, that's when he turned it off all the way.
When I told you about the fresh water on the decking, when I told you that Eric Wagner might have been murdered, you know what you did? Turn the radio completely off.
So that's what set him off.
Yes.
But what finally gave Robert Culp away is Columbo is sweating over these tapes. He's listening to them 100 times. He's listening like maybe there's a car horn.
Are you going to give the reveal, right?
Yeah. Do you want to go?
Before we do this,
Okay.
I have another clue on this. I was hoping
Okay.
it comes off of his. This one turns me on so badly about what you just said. Is that he called him on the road
Yeah.
while they were on the 2-yard line during a safety. And he said, my wife, when she comes and interrupts me when I'm watching a big game, I get annoyed with her.
Yes.
And why are you coming in and annoying me? And that it happened to be a big play in the game that he called the guy.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Off of that same clue you said is like, you wouldn't even turn it down, so it was a double piggyback.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Remembering that, which I love, where he's like, my wife annoys me during the game.
Right.
And
Exactly.
Going into his wife's speech about.
Well, we do it too. Like when we're watching sports,
Sure,
like
what do you
we'll
want?
be in the middle of a conversation, but if a big play is happening, doesn't matter what the conversation is, we'll stop dead in our tracks till the play is over and then start the conversation.
Yeah, so sorry. I know you're about to go to the reveal, but that was another one of his ones where he's like, I know he did it. But because he's about to do the beautiful reveal, got to talk about the most cool shot, especially for you sports fans out there. This is a very sports episode,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is in this one, they have some of the most beautiful cinematography in this of Columbo perplexed about this case in an empty LA Coliseum, old school LA
Yeah.
Coliseum, from like up in the rafters down to where he's contemplating all these thoughts about the tape that he kept listening to 1,000 times. I'm sorry. Now you can take it.
And I would just say that obviously Columbo is set in L.A., but this one was scenery-wise a very LA-centric episode, which doesn't always happen sometimes. Sometimes you really can't tell. It could be any town, but this one was definitely LA-centric. All right, so the big reveal.
Yeah. Goes and meets him in the office.
Meets him in the office, and he starts saying that he's listened to these tapes 100 times, and he's always listening for something that shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I listened to this thing, I can't tell you how many times, over and over again, figuring maybe I'd hear something that shouldn't be there. Some sound that shouldn't be there. An ambulance, a fire truck, like if you were in a phone booth, something.
And Robert Culp, who was just glorious at playing smug. That's because I was here, Columbo, you idiot, But instead of looking for something that was on the tape that shouldn't be there, he flipped it and started looking for something that wasn't on the tape that should be there.
God, he's brilliant.
And with that,
I'm out by the pool now. But are you in it yet? Will 20 more laps satisfy you? I told you I'd be ready, didn't I? Now get off my back, Alan. Pick me up at 5:30.
and you hear it in the box, but you don't hear it on Columbo's tape.
Mm-hmm.
You just see the entire life just kind of drain out of.
Yeah, he pops his eyes over to him and then just drops. Yeah. Oh, just perfect red-handed. Got him. One more thing, right? Got him. And he's just so great. And again, going back to this episode, it has an almost failure by Columbo. He's about to throw in the towel on this guy. This is a very worthy adversary he just had in this one.
This tape really got to him. He could not figure it out because it really did kind of set up Culp with the perfect alibi. And it is one of those things that in most episodes you see the murder being planned out and executed, obviously, long before Columbo even shows up. But this one is interesting because they left out the part of the wiretap or the buzz.
Yeah, they did.
Because you're watching him making the phone call in the luxury box, jumping in the ice cream truck, and stopping, at a payphone in the middle of nowhere to make another call and holding the radio up, and you're asking yourself, why is he doing this? It seems like an unnecessary step.
Yeah.
Because you don't find out till like halfway through the episode that the phones were being tapped and that Robert Culp knew about it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those instances where you, the viewer, do not have all the information.
Yeah.
Which normally they do give you all
You're right.
the clues to uncover the murder.
We rank these, and I've been thinking about this. I wanted to throw this. One other thing. You talked about what inspired us. If you had a cast yourself, Columbo, of course, is out in this, right?
Yeah.
If you had to cast yourself in this movie, who do you play at this point in time of your life?
I probably would take the coach's role, James Gregory, who's a big-time character actor. He was on Barney Miller. I liked him. He was like kind of gruff because he comes up because part of the alibi is to make sure the coach sees him in the box. So he comes up. He's like, "All right, I know we're down a couple of points, but I think my plays are still good." And all Culp needed him up there was to come up and see him.
That's all he needed.
But he just had this like a really kind of gruff, like
put out.
Yeah, I don't give a shit type of attitude. I like that character. What about you?
I mean, as a younger man, I think the Dean Stockwell.
Yeah.
As a younger man, although I think I could still play it at this age. Like you think about it as like a middle-aged guy that's still acting like that when somebody's trying to win football games would still work. And when you inherit something, you inherit it. Right?
Okay, yeah. So you would go.
I would go with his because I really thought he was so whiny. I really liked him at it. He's like, "What do you want?" And he's doing a lot of nose gestures where they don't show cocaine, but it is really implied.
It is definitely implied.
He just looks terrible, and like there would be something really fun, I think, of being able to play just the murder victim in a Columbo.
There's a great shot. So Columbo is trying to get hold of him before the game, to part of setting up his alibi, and he's got black satin sheets, and the phone is ringing, and you just see this hand kind of like appear from underneath the sheets to grab the phone. It's like, "Hello."
At least you're alone, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not 100% sure if there was somebody, maybe they went to bed with somebody. I can't really tell.
Yeah, he's very, and he shows up a few times on this series.
Yeah, doesn't he? He's the murderer in one of them, isn't he?
No, I think he's another character actor in that, the Robert Vaughn one. on the cruise ship. That's a weird one that we should talk about sometime. We'll tease it. Love to hear y'all's feelings on this one as an episode. The one where he's going to go meet his wife on a cruise ship, and he can't find her the whole time.
Oh yeah, he's just
and he's going around the whole cruise ship.
The closest we've ever
Dean Stockwell's in that one.
The closest we've ever gotten to seeing Mrs. Columbo. Like they're in the same vicinity, but we never get to see her.
Yeah.
I would have pegged you as the old dude going to see Valerie Harper.
I thought about saying that, or I really was thinking about saying him. He's really, really fun in that. And there was one other that was really fun in that.
PI?
Yeah. That's the other guy I was going to go with, Dobbs or whatever his name was. I can't remember what his name was in the show. But going back to y'all, yes, this is a Nerds of Comedy, Nerds of Mystery. We do an Unusual Suspects show. Did call. We're talking to all places we're doing. Murder Mysteries actually so much this summer. We're actually doing it at a hotel
we just
chain.
got the call. We're going to be going back to Vegas, which is cool. So if you're in the Las Vegas area this summer, be on the lookout for
that would be
the Unusual
awesome.
Suspects.
Let's hope that happens. Yeah, but back to the point. Columbo, one more thing, right? One more thing on it. What would you like to see? We love any kind of feedback. We'd love to do something stupid with Columbo. We could talk about it all night.
Now, I have a little tease. So we're filming 2 episodes back to back. This is the first one. You'll see the second one next week, and we are huge Columbo fans. But next week, we're going to do an episode that we both detest.
It's not very good.
No, it is one of the few times where we are going to kind of shit talk some Columbo.
Right. We feel like it's only fair because we were just loving the whole time. There was this one out of the original series.
We're not gonna give anything
that
away.
It was
so
just
you're gonna have to
bizarre, and when I first saw it, I was like, "That's the only one I don't like."
Right,
Yeah.
and I rewatched it again. I wanted to like it so much, and I just cannot do it. So that is our teaser for next week. Tune in next week, and you will see us hate on Columbo.
Yes, and give us whatever you're supposed to do on here, or whatever.
Subscribe, and tell us which episode you want to see next.
One more thing.